Hi, I'm Mark Matthews, and you're about to watch my review of the new tablet by Amazon, the Kindle Fire, which is going on sale in the UK shortly. Amazon launched the Kindle Fire in the US in November last year. It was quite a bold move at the time to move into the tablet market, which already had been quite crowded at the time. However, the device is now the most popular product on Amazon's US site. Now, the device will finally be available in the UK as well. It took Amazon a while to set up the licenses and app store in Europe, which is why it's taken so long to make for the tablet to make it across the Atlantic. The good news is that the Kindle will now be available in two versions in the UK. Initially in the US, it was only available in one version when I bought it. So you'll be able to buy the Kindle Fire and the Kindle Fire HD, which comes in two memory versions as well. Also, I mean, the tablet is now well tested. It's almost a year old now, so Amazon will have sorted out any teething problems if there were any. I didn't experience any, but it's now well tested. And also, Amazon has upgraded the Fire. It now comes with a gigabyte of memory. It was 512 before, and a processor with 1.2 gigahertz, which just had a gigahertz before. So all this is very nice, but is it really a good alternative to the iPad? So I've decided to start my review by going into the downsides of the Fire in comparison with the iPad. The thing with downsides, though, is that many of them are in the eye of the beholder and may actually be perceived as an advantage. For example, the size of the device, but you'll see that in a minute. So a clear disadvantage of the Fire is that there's no 3G version available, so you will be entirely reliant on Wi-Fi access. I like to use my iPad when I'm in town, for example, to find my way around, but that's not going to be possible with the Fire. However, you probably have a smartphone anyway, so you will have your 3G and possibly even 4G shortly, which you can use when you're out and about, so it may not matter for you at all. Also, it shouldn't be forgotten that if you do have a Wi-Fi option on a tablet, on an iPad, or if it were available on a Kindle, it costs you probably by around about £10 a month in addition to purchasing it. So, secondly, the Fire does not have a camera or a microphone, so you won't be able to use it with Skype or take pictures, for example, which could be perceived as a big disadvantage. Also, there are no hardware buttons to regulate the volume, for example, so you will have to use the on-screen volume control, which is not as practical as on an iPad where you have a physical volume button on the side. So the screen is smaller than on the iPad. It's 7-inch diagonally on the Kindle Fire, whereas it's 9.7 on the iPad. Could be perceived as a disadvantage if you like to watch videos, but could be an advantage if you use it for reading. It shouldn't be forgotten that this is also a reader. It's from Amazon. So reading books on an iPad, which I've done before, is quite, the thing gets quite heavy. So it really depends on what you want to use it for. It's lighter, it's maybe easier to handle as well. There are fewer memory options available. The regular Fire, the basic version, comes with 8 gigabytes of storage, and the Fire HD comes with either 16 or 32 gigabytes. But plenty of choice still. And 32 gigabytes is quite a lot. I find I'm quite doing well with my 8 gigabytes here. Finally, the resolution on the Fire is somewhat lower than on the iPad, but that's only for the basic version. The Fire HD is exactly the same as on the new iPad, and even on the basic iPad. On the basic Kindle Fire, the resolution is still as good as the iPad 2. So it's not a bad resolution as such. Well, there are fewer apps on the Amazon App Store, but still there will be about 30,000 apps available. So you still have a good choice. I don't think you'll be missing much, to be honest, unless you're an app freak or so. It does not have GPS or maps. Again, it doesn't have a 3G option, so a map would probably not make that much sense. And it doesn't have any GPS, as I discussed before. The battery life on the Fire is somewhat lower than on the iPad. According to Amazon, it's 8 hours. According to Apple, the iPad lasts 10 hours. I think both tend to exaggerate a bit. so it's probably more like 6 hours on the Fire, and maybe probably just about 8 hours on the iPad. So as you can see, the Fire obviously does have some weaknesses, although I personally think that there are hardly any serious flaws in there. So it all really depends on what you want to do with the tablet. You may already have gauged that I quite like the Kindle Fire. So the next few slides are going to be about the advantages and the strengths of the Kindle. So my first thought when I bought the Fire was, hey, it's an Amazon tool, so Amazon has staked a lot on this, and it's a strong brand. So I thought, that's already a little bit of a guarantee for quality in my eyes, anyway. But it turns out that the Kindle is really strongly built, while it's still light. So it feels like a quality device when you hold it. The screen's extra resistant. It's 30 times harder than plastics and has an anti-glare coating. So it will still give you some glare, like any LCD screen, really, including the iPad. But it's in no way worse than the iPad. The processor and memory are now on par with the iPad, and the resolution of the basic file, as I mentioned before, is the same as on the iPad 2. And the HD version is as good as the new iPad. Also, the screen is very responsive. You don't have to tap it really hard to make it respond, and the browsing speed is really good as well. I also read a number of other reviews, and nobody's complained about browsing speed. So, a big advantage that I find is that the Fire supports Flash Player, Adobe Flash Player. So one thing that has really unnerved me on many occasions with the iPad, which doesn't support Flash Player. Many videos and animations on the internet are powered by Flash Player, and then I've had many instances where I couldn't watch anything on the iPad and then had to get out my laptop or sit in front of the PC. So definitely a huge advantage on the Fire on this one. Amazon's so-called ecosystem is, of course, fantastic. So you have access to over 18 million films, books, songs, magazines. Should be forgotten that things like Love Film are also Amazon company, so that will be integrated as well. Amazon offers free cloud storage for anything, any Amazon content. So that's limitless Amazon content. So that's a backup, but as well, you can also stream things. So you don't need to store everything on your tablet. And it offers up to 5 gigabytes for non-Amazon content. The Fire, that's another thing that I really like about it. The Fire comes with an HDMI socket, a mini HDMI socket, which you see on this little picture here. So you can use it with your TV or with presentations with monitors or screens, and use it as a streaming device and watch films on the TV that is powered by your little Kindle, which is great. Now, I've left the best point for last. I mean, the best point that really clinches it for me is the price. You can get the Kindle Fire for £129. And the iPad 2, which is not even the most recent version now anymore, costs $329 in the most basic version. The new iPad starts at $399, basically £400. So, and even the HD version of the Kindle Fire comes for a comparatively measly 159 with 16 gigabytes and 199 with 32 gigabyte storage. So, I mean, the price gap is, even if you go for the biggest and best Fire, the HD, for £200, it's still half the cost of what you would pay for the new iPad. So what's my conclusion? Is the Kindle Fire better than the IP? Well, no, really, it isn't. I mean, it couldn't be. How could it be if it costs less than half, or the basic version costs less than a third of the new iPad? So it's not better. Let's not kid ourselves. But Amazon has managed to create a very good and affordable device, and which in most points is just as good as the iPad, and does have some advantages as well. So it's definitely a fantastic alternative to the iPad, and it certainly beats most other non-Apple tablets out there that I've read about. and heard about. So 129, 159 per tablet. I would definitely buy the Kindle Fire over the iPad next time I had to make a choice, and and then spend the save money on music, films, or even a new smartphone if maybe the new iPhone 4 with 4G. Technology is progressing so quickly these days, and you may be tempted to buy a new tablet in a year or two anyway, when it comes out with new functions and even greater stuff on it. So then you will have only spent 129 or maybe the maximum of 199. So it won't hurt as much to buy a new one then. So if you have made up your mind, if you do think that the Kindle Fire in any of the three versions this is the right tool for you, it'd be great if you went to getafire.co.uk or just click on the link below this YouTube screen, which takes you directly to the correct site in Amazon, so you don't have to scroll around. So it's getafire.co.uk or click up below the screen. If you want to read more about the Kindle Fire, some more reviews and more text and comparisons, please go to getatablet.co.uk. Well, thanks very much for your time. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope it's been valuable to you, and happy tableting.